Good morning, everybody. You're listening to the Arwen Lewis radio show. Today, I have a very special guest, composer, producer, multi-instrumentalist, and recording studio owner of Surprise Studio in Buellton, California, Graham Palmer. We took you out to break with the song Imbibe, which is the introduction, or excuse me, it's the Imbibe intro to a short film called Imbibe, and brought you back in with the outro. Graham Palmer has composed both of those pieces of music for the short film. And we're here today talking about his extensive career in the music business. He's been a touring musician and also has a few solo projects he's working on. The first one we're going to talk about is Kinotech. And so you've had Kinotech for a long time, right, Graham?
I have. It's been a long time. Yeah.
How did it start? Did you?
So it's always been kind of, as an avenue to release music that I've written that doesn't really fit into other projects. I spent a lot of the last 15 years touring and playing with the Mad Caddies, which was sort of a punk rock ska band and super fun, and had a great time doing it. And Kinotech for me was always just something. It's like, well, I've got these songs that don't fit anywhere else in any of these other projects, but I still want to release them. And, just for that, haven't played a live show in over 10 years, but continue to use the moniker to release new music and just put out some solo stuff.
Where'd you come up with the name? It's such a cool name.
Another film connection, but it was a book during the silent film era. It was a book that was released in Germany that was sort of stock music for silent film. So there would be like scary theme or happy theme. And when live orchestras used to play with silent films, that's what would be sheet music. So, whomever was there would direct like, all right, this scene's happy or the scene's sad. This scene is sad. And the musicians would turn to that page and play whatever theme happened to be there. That book was called Kinotech. So that's where my band name came from.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you feel like the music that you're releasing under that name is a reflection of that, or did you just like the name and the energy behind it?
I think the name and the energy behind it. I think I kind of had maybe envisioned it earlier on to be more of that, but it didn't really turn out to be that so much. It just turned out to sound like my solo songs.
Well, that's cool too, and it has a good, aura about it, I would say. And the song that we're gonna play today, "Displaced," that has like kind of like a digital dubsteppy vibe almost. Does all of the music have that, or is that just one particular song?
That I think that song has more of like a electronic beat than some of the other ones. And each release that I've done with that project has been kind of different. The earlier stuff was a little bit more just sounded like a rock band playing. Okay. And that particular EP that Displaced is off was a little more studio manufactured, and I was creating beats and building songs around them. I also did a Talking Heads cover under Kinotech for my wife when we got married, and that was totally a rearranged one of their songs. So all of them, each release has been kind of different, and that's kind of what I like about that solo project. And I am working on new stuff as well that'll sound nothing like what came before it. And it's kind of honestly, it's kind of a vanity project. There's no expectations for any of it. It's just an avenue for me to put out my solo stuff. So each release can be completely different, which is kind of fun and liberating in a way.
Well, yeah, and that's what's so cool, that you don't have any pressure from any label or anybody telling you what to create. And I just think that's the coolest thing about being an indie artist. And it's important because I feel like being an independent musician, or even if you are under a label who's giving you a lot of, creative freedom, it's important to be able to express yourself like in different avenues of life. And it's like just a free form of human expression when you're trained in the way and the language of music to be able to express yourself. And I think that's when you really appeal to an audience too, because it sounds like you know what you're saying, and sonically it's really like it's pleasing and interesting to listen to. And so kudos. Yeah. Did you play all the instruments on that recording too, or do you have a band that you work with?
In that one, I played all the instruments with the exception of electric guitar. Okay. I had a buddy of mine play electric guitar, but I played everything else on that.
Nice.
With other releases, with earlier releases, I had more of a band established, but the last few have been me playing most everything.
And that's so nice, and you're able to do that in your studio and control the sound. And You can really hear it's, I mean, it's just a complete piece of work. So I'm so stoked for you to be releasing that. You've got another solo project too, and that's called Redactive Choir, right?
That is, yeah, it's a duo with a buddy of mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did that start?
Uh, talk, it's a buddy of mine named Jordan, and he's had a successful music career in his own right. But we just started getting together and working on tunes. Again, kind of no expectations, other than we wanted to create largely instrumental music, and also sort of thinking in the film television world. But we ended up with a bunch of songs and released the first record, and now have a second one that's currently being mixed as well to release. But yeah, it just started because it started, and we wanted to write some instrumental music. We do some singing, but it's not. There's no words. It's almost using our voices as another layered instrument. But that's definitely more electronic influenced, but all natural recordings. It's all mic'd up instruments that we've sort of chopped up and made into more of a digital sounding project.
Nice. And then you have a pretty prestigious mixer working on that for you, right?
The guy mixing it's named Kian Reardon, who's another friend of ours. He's well, I loved how his website used to say Grammy losing mixing engineer because he had been nominated a few times and kept losing, but he finally did win one for St. Vincent a couple of years ago. So now he changed it to he crossed out losing and put Grammy winning. But he's doing a great job, and he's a great mixing engineer. I do a lot of mixing as well, but sometimes with my solo projects, and this one in particular, it's nice to get it in somebody else's ears and have a different take on it, especially somebody as accomplished as he is.
Yeah, and I feel like it's always nice after you've been listening to it for so long, and you're sometimes you can get kind of stuck in the sound. So like you said, it's nice to have a fresh pair of ears that bring a new light to it. And for Kenotech, let's go back to that really quick. Did you record and mix and do all that yourself too? We already talked about that, I think.
I did.
Okay, yeah. Cool. And then so for the Logan Livermore band project that you're working on, are you producing that or are you just part of the band?
We're all producing it together, and
Nice.
we've been working on this album for quite some time now. We're hoping to wrap it up here pretty soon. There's 6 of us in the band, sometimes 7 if we have a horn player in there. A lot of cooks in the kitchen. It's a lot of it. Logan is a primary songwriter. Sasha Lazor, who I played in the Mad Caddies with, and myself have helped out a lot, arranging the songs, helping them write them, sort of bringing them across the finish line. And between the 3 of us, we've done a lot of the pre-production, actual producing of the record, and again, trying to get it finished. We have largely gone to other studios a lot in town here. We've done a lot of work with Angus Cook at Orange Whip, and Tom Flowers, and Joel Jacks up in Santa Ynez, and some at my place, and some just in living rooms. So we've recorded this thing all over the place, and that's a process sometimes, trying to get it all to sound cohesive. And it's a little bit, compared to Kenotech or Redacted Choir, it's definitely more of a straightforward alt country rock vibe. So it's more of a traditional band sounding arrangement, but I think the songs are really good, and we've put a lot of work into it, and it's a fun one to be working on.
Yeah, I really love the track you sent for the show. We're going to play Living Hell for you, and that's from Logan Livermore's project that we're discussing right now. But before Living Hell, we're going to take you out to break with Graham Palmer's band Kenotech, their song Displaced, and then we'll bring you back in with the Logan Livermore band, and that's going to be the song Living Hell. And you're listening to Arwen Lewis on the Arwen Lewis Radio Show. My very special guest here today is Graham Palmer. If you're just tuning in, he is a composer, a producer, a multi-instrumentalist. He owns a recording studio in Buellton, California called Surprise Studio. And we're going to take you out to break with his music, bring you back in with another project he's part of, and we'll see you in just a second.